Jim Romer, Dr. Weather, with your exclusive bar chart report on this President's Day weekend. Let's talk about what is stratospheric warming, one of the strongest events I've seen in at least the last 10 to 15 years for the end of February and potentially March. This is about 10 to 20 miles above the Earth's surface in the stratosphere. Notice the red and white. That white is 50 degrees above normal, folks, over the Arctic Circle, and that's going to push pieces of the polar vortex south during the end of February and March. Could be a very snowy late winter for parts of the Midwest. Good news for the Western Corn Belt and Northern Plains drought, as long as we don't have a cool, wet spring. Now, that could happen. So subscribe to Weather Wealth and find out when you should hedge your corn and soybean crops. What will the weather be like for planting and the summer grain markets? We've been doing this for 38 years and helping farmers and traders all over the world. When you see this warming, that's a spike you see there, the warming where the arrow is. We have what we call a negative NAO index and a negative WPO index, a big ridge northwest of Alaska and one to the east of Greenland. What usually happens with a stratospheric warming event that I just talked about, when you do see those particular features develop, those blocks, we call them teleconnections. First of all, we tend to have more wet weather for northern Brazil. Coffee and soybeans will downgrade the coffee crop after our previous very bearish attitude last fall. There could be some fireworks further in coffee if the coffee crop gets reduced from wet weather going into March. It's been too wet. Also, some delays perhaps in the Brazil soybean harvest. Though overall, a huge South American crop, particularly in Brazil, has offset some of the dry weather in Argentina. That's why beans, as of this point, have not made a new leg up in prices. But we should see a return to dry weather in Argentina once again. So excitement may return to the soybean market as we get into the end of February and also March. In addition, we expect a colder spring or colder late winter when you see these teleconnections that I talked about because of the stratospheric warming event. It could be very snowy across Iowa and Nebraska, the northern plains, great skiing out west. Will this put the brakes in the natural gas market? How do you trade spreads and heating oil, natural gas? Subscribe to my YouTube channel, but also Weather Wealth for the next few months. Get a 2-week free trial period. We caught this whole move down in natural gas back in the fall and early winter. But what about now? Are things changing? They could be. How do you use options to trade natural gas and grains and coffee? Again, if you have not had one before, subscribe to a 2-week free trial period of Weather Wealth. Thank you. Have a great, happy President's Day weekend.